Thanks to
Видимо,
donate
мы
and
начинаем
logo
начинать.
stream. We would also like to thank Twitch and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. Now, it's time for LordFluffy running Titanfall 2, all helmets on PC. Take it away.
All right, so welcome everybody back to ESA. My name is LordFluffy, and Titanfall 2, you may have seen some speedruns by this game before. One of the highest skill cap, most fluid, entertaining speedruns out there. We're doing all
Так, в этой игре используется китайский язык, потому что он быстрее.
There are some little goodies that you can collect, these helmets that are just strewn out throughout each of the maps for the most part.
Вот, категория All Helmets подразумевает под собой то, что нам нужно будет собрать все коллектиблы, то есть шлема, которые валяются на картах, они валяются там. Ну, это как секреточки получается. Раннер у нас LordFluffy на комментаторском кресле. У него Брайаната. Брайаната, думаю, все знают. Это в последнее время известный человек, который влезает везде, где только можно. Он и на ГДК, он и на многих играх. Начинаем. Пропускаем первую катсцену. Время начинается после того, как вы нажимаете здесь вот на пробел. Поехали. Я тороплюсь. Так, насколько я тороплюсь? Секунд на 10. Вот сейчас у меня 25.
So anytime we cross a certain speed threshold and we press crouch, we'll get a slide boost. And once we get that slide boost right there, we can jump and then preserve that momentum. So we're going to be sliding, jumping, and that is known as slide hopping. This is going to allow us to gain speed when paired with air strafing, which we'll cover in a second, and generally just preserve our momentum as we go. It's very, very important in Titanfall 2 to preserve.
Ну, чуть-чуть подвинулся сейчас, вот. Первый мувмент 3, который используется в игре, это слайд-хоппинг. В принципе, ничего сложного тут нет, это игра на движке Source Engine. Просто при приземлении мы прыгаем и сохраняем при этом скорость, даже чуть увеличиваем. Здесь вот мы запрыгиваем наверх и поднимаем ЕПГ. Это местный rocket launcher. И от этого быстрее спавнятся пушки. А также мы используем ЕПГ для того, чтобы буститься от стен. Здесь гонтлет. Сетапим гранату, чтобы сделать гранейд буст. Медленно. По идее, не надо было там граплиться, к сожалению. Не долетел раннер. Здесь просто мы проходим гонтлет, потому что так быстрее отстреливать, в принципе, пацанов здесь не надо, просто за неотстреленных пацанов у вас будет добавлено время. In the gauntlet, we can't die, so we're just able to just shoot a grenade or shoot a rocket launcher at their feet over and over and be fine. But when it comes to the rest of the run, we're going to have to be a lot more careful. So, yeah.
All right, so that's the first basic level of the stage is done at this point. All that's more
Сейчас мы пока просто ждем, пока нас уже отправят в основную игру.
There is a input viewer in the bottom right of the screen. I asked specifically for this because Titanfall 2's movement can be very unorthodox. So when we're explaining a movement mechanic, it's often good to reference the input display if you can to see visually what we're doing. And we're just going to hit a button here, try and go for a funny glitch. So if I hop on this little indicator here at the right time...
Like you had to have gotten it with that.
Yeah, so as you can see, look at that.
This was Titanfall?
He's in the ground!
He's
in the ground! Oh my goodness. So yeah, that little funny glitch is if you hop on top of that indicator, like at the right time, instead of falling from straight up and down like it's supposed to, it'll come in on an angle. And I got a really good one. He was straight underground.
Пытались показать.
It's just a funny glitch, but that's what we're here for.
Какой-то глич.
that's basically the end of the stage here.
От которого падающий титан провалится под землю.
Menu through the menus quickly, but also if I'm fast enough, it'll
Это время не
select the easy
сохраняет.
difficulty for me, which is the difficulty we run on.
Yeah. And you've probably noticed at this point too that the game is not in English. We are playing in Mandarin specifically. Mandarin saves a very substantial amount of time over English, 38 seconds to be exact, just through dialogue, not through text boxes, but through spoken dialogue. Generally, anytime
По сравнению с английским языком, ран на китайском языке сохраняет аж целых 38 секунд. Поэтому разница игра на китайском. Итак, Gauntlet пройден, теперь мы высаживаемся и начинаем игру. Мы играем за стрелка Джека Купера. Он не пилот, он был только пилотом в обучении, его обучал капитан Ластимоза. Так, свое свободное время, так скажем. Но в связи с некоторыми событиями мы становимся, так скажем, полноценным пилотом.
Which was home to a IMC research facility that the militia wanted to try and research and disrupt. So we came in and they had a ton of anti-orbital defenses, and now we're getting shot down behind enemy lines. You can actually see the very end of the game, that little kind of structure in the background there. That's where we're going to be in about an hour and a half's time with 46 helmets in our pocket.
All right. So we're coming up here to a little bit of a gameplay section. This is not very long. It's only about 10 seconds, but it's a little bit interesting because we don't have the pilot movement we had in the Gauntlet. We don't have any double jumps or wall kicks or anything like that. We do, however, still have slide jumps and air strafing. So
как мы все еще просто обычный стрелок Джек Купер. Вначале у нас нету ни даблджампов, ни каких-либо других интересных вещей. Но мы будем здесь примерно секунд 10-15, поэтому это недолго. После этого произойдут спойлеры и нам дадут наши новые способности. Здесь мы просто слайд-хопимся, пропуская всех. И, собственно, вот, теперь катсцена.
This is going to introduce us to Lastimosa, who is just training us back there, and a lot of the enemies that will fight throughout the run, known as the Apex Predators.
В этой катсцене нам показывают капитана Ластимозу, который пытается засейвить Купера.
Have an automated file that load a save file that loads right here. The time is re-injected into the timer and everything. Kind of like what other communities have done, like for Super Mario Sunshine or Portal 2. You think of it that way, but for a marathon setting, it
Но, к сожалению, его сейчас завалят, потому что приходят наемники, наемники группы Apex Predators.
Whenever you jump on mouse and keyboard, if you jump within and press a directional key within 0.5 seconds of jumping, you will lurch slightly in that direction. This has its benefits and its downsides. The benefit is mostly that lurching in a direction like that can allow you to take corners tighter or readjust yourself to get through something you would have otherwise not been able to. But the downside is that every time you lurch, it slows you down. This lurch mechanic is also present in Apex Legends, which leads us into talking about the next thing, which is tap strafing, which you might have heard of. So tap strafing is when you're holding a strafe key,
с такой мантией у нас наемник Рихтер. К нему подходит сейчас главный антагонист игры, Урбан Блиск. Он главарь наемников Apex Predators.
Things to scroll in this game, so it's not super abusable like it is in Apex Legends currently.
Проходит какое-то время, и сейчас нас пытаются съесть праулеры, но мы вовремя просыпаемся, приходим в сознание, и самый лучший друг пилота спасает нас.
Now that we have woken up from a little nap, basically the lore dump at this point is that We've all crash landed, as you can see. Lastimosa got destroyed by the Apex Predators, but this robot here, BT, the Titan, he seems to be alive, and what's going on? Oh, he's alive. Now he's not.
BT 7274 это Титан капитана Ластимозы.
That is my joke. That is my joke.
Но, к сожалению, так как Ластимоза смертельно ранен, здесь происходит передача контроля Титана стрелку Джеку Куперу. Он говорит: забери мой Титан, моего Титана.
Oh wait, no. I guess we're in English. If we have English,
Заботься о нем.
From the task menu mod.
Gotcha. Right. So, pretty much once we put the helmet back on, we are done waiting through cutscenes, and the run is ready to go. Lastimosa died and gave us control of his Titan, BT, right there, and his pilot gear, which is gonna facilitate all of our advanced movement tech. So, what we're gonna be doing right off the bat is jumping backwards twice and grabbing the wall. This is gonna help us reach that minimum speed threshold we need to get a slide boost, and then we will start our slide hops.
Итак, мы получили гир-кит капитана Ластимозы, мы получили шлем пилота, и начинаются веселые вещи. Мы уже можем делать wallrun, но доступ ко всем мобилкам у нас еще нет. Мы не можем делать такие вещи, как double jump, допустим, сейчас. Сейчас мы подняли второй шлем, доступный нам. Ну и вот эта часть рана, здесь просто wallrun и слайд-хопы. Сложность изи. Поднимаем мета-оружие в Апексе 9 сезона. Ева 8. Вот. Также сейчас используется такая вещь, как wall-kick. Игра работает на 64 тиках. Если в нужный тик запрыгнуть на стенку и отпрыгнуть, вам дается небольшой буст скорости. В принципе, этот трюк на самом деле не особо сложный, и его можно исполнять с определенной постоянностью. Проблем никаких нет. Здесь мы забираем первую батарею для нашего нового Титана. Здесь используется трюк, известный как Slant Boost, что позволило нам сейчас перепрыгнуть в нужное нам место. Работает трюк таким образом, то что когда вы слоитесь вниз, и если отпрыгнуть в определенный момент, вся ваша горизонтальная скорость, она переходит в вертикальную. Вот, точнее, наоборот, вся вертикальная скорость, то есть при слайдинге вниз, она переходит в горизонтальную, и от этого у вас увеличивается скорость. Небольшой гарнет-буст только что был, чтобы перелететь.
It really depends a lot on your airstrike proficiency and your wall kicks. Fluffy is navigating through here, not missing any wall kicks, which is the really important part.
Вот, дальше здесь вот у нас wall-кики, которые позволяют нам сохранить скорость и даже чуть бустануться. И, кстати, мы уже получили double jump. Это также первую обилку, которая является инвизом. Я думаю, а как капитан дал Титану, это его особенность, что ли? Нет, каждый Титан имеет привязку к своему пилоту. Таким образом, да, как в чате говорят, он просто передал полномочия на управление Титаном, и так как мы являемся протагонистом игры, у нас никаких проблем со связкой, с нейросвязкой с новым Титаном, никаких проблем не произошло. Здесь опять мы делаем слаунд-буст. О, пропустили шлем. Плохо. Ну, если говорить про юридическую сторону, то... Ну, как бы, это неправильно. То, что сделал капитан Ластимоза, это неправильно. Но в связи с тем, в связи с событиями в игре, он это делает. Потому что в начале даже... ну как в начале? Почти всю игру Джей Купер все так же определяет себя как не как пилот, потому что Титанами может управлять только пилот, все правильно, да. Он говорит, что он стрелок Джек Купер.
This is because when a Titan is neural linked to a pilot, they become a deadly machine when they are linked like this and the pilot is embarked. The Titan has 3 protocols. Protocol 1, link to pilot, like we said. Protocol 2, uphold the mission. At no point in time should your actions be in a way that does not benefit finishing the mission. And then Protocol 3, protect the pilot. If your pilot is in danger, please protect him. That whole idea. So, with that being said, as
Итак, у Титанов есть 3 основные правила. Протокол 1 присоединиться к пилоту, связаться с пилотом. Протокол 2 выполнять задание. На настоящий момент у нас задание это связаться с майором Андерсоном. И протокол 3 защищать пилота.
And then kill those 2 guys and perfect, just like that. So that, yeah, so what that ends up doing is it ends up progressing the game forward a couple seconds faster than what it would do otherwise. And now it's just a couple of more scripted reflex and then missile launches here to kill the enemies in the most efficient way possible.
Ну, здесь идет у нас туториал по управлению Титаном. Пытаемся его пройти как можно быстрее.
I'm going to try and do a strat called No You, which involves shooting a bunch of bullets into his vortex shield and then using my own vortex shield to reflect them back.
So okay. the Brute's going to try and No You us, but we're gonna double No You the Brute. Oh, and the Brute missed. We're a stationary target sitting here, and the Brute couldn't even hit us. I guess that's the downside of playing on the easy difficulty is that sometimes you can't even hit a giant mech that is standing still. Now we just have to wait for BT to stop talking, so we get a waypoint here and we'll be able to end the mission. Have to wait for BT to set that waypoint.
Сейчас мы ждем, когда BT договорит, чтобы сработал триггер. Оказался waypoint, и мы проходим дальше.
In all helmets, the first 2 stages are relatively similar to any %, but when we get into this stage here, Blood and Rust, you start to see the major differences that the routing of all helmets entails from any %. And this is where the run really starts to get interesting. So yeah, this is also a good time to explain Titan movement. So Titans are treated like giant pilots in this game. So they still have access to the ability to airstrafe, but they don't have any of the jumps or wall kicks or anything like that. So instead, we make use of Titan dashes. As you can see, the meter at the bottom
Эту секцию мы просто пробегаем.
So typically, we want to be always having that meter on cooldown and always dashing from high ground to low ground. And if we can manage riding on top of enemies like I did there with that tone, that's called tone slide.
Откуда организуется Титанопад? Да, все верно, он организуется с кораблей. В самом начале мы даже видели перед высадкой то, как это все работает. Там большой корабль. Нас, собственно, с этого корабля и выкидывают.
really starts to differ from any percent. So there is an early disembark strat that high-level runners go for in any percent, but most runners just say, you know, stay into BT till a bit later, but we're basically required to disembark from BT at that point anyway, so we might as well do the type of movement we need for the early disembark. But then we got to come over here, do these wall jumps to get on this little pipe, and now we pick up that helmet. So now that we've got those two helmets, we continue on the stage as normal. Ooh, no, I'm just going to take the jump.
Здесь, собственно, начинается различие между раутингом Any Percent и All Helmets. Как некоторые могут знать, в Any Percent мы примерно до вот этого места доходим в BT, вылезаем из него и делаем wall run double jump и залезаем в вот эту вот каморочку. Но так как мы вылезли раньше, чтобы поднять шлем, у нас немножко другой раут получается.
At a high speed without losing a lot of speed. However, if we tap W while we're strafing, we'll actually end up lurching in like a 45-degree angle, and we can stack those lurches multiple times. So if we're strafing and then we tap W multiple times, it allows us to take some very sharp corners.
Сейчас нам Брайнат объясняет, как работает местный air control. Смысл, в общем, в чем? Если вы во время полета нажимаете на кнопку направления и при этом тапаете W, игра поворачивает вас как бы на... позволяет повернуться еще на дополнительные 45 градусов. И если постоянно тапать W, то есть движение вперед, с кнопкой горизонтального направления, то есть А или Д, со стрейфом, точнее, то это позволяет нам делать очень крутые повороты и при этом сохранять скорость. Игроки в Apex также могут знать это под названием тап-стрейфинг.
This section could be a little bit random. We have to use our EVA 8 shotgun, which is our automatic shotgun, to fortunately navigate our way all the way through.
Отличие от, допустим, того же Apex и Titanfall в этом трюке заключается в том, что в Titanfall нельзя забиндить колесо мыши на кнопки передвижения. То есть там можно забиндить колесо мыши на передвижение вперед, что упрощает это во много раз. В Titanfall же колесо мыши не работает ни на прыжок, ни на передвижение.
And now we're coming up on Sludge Skip. This is the game's first massive sequence break. So you see BT standing behind the fence there.
Тут, если кому-то интересно, каким образом раннер поднялся так быстро по стене, смысл в том, что он просто отпрыгивался от двух ближних стен, то есть это обычный wall-jump. Так, wall-jump, так скажем. Здесь мы триггерили нужный триггер и просто запрыгиваем, как в Any Percent, к BT-7274, залезаем в него и тем самым сохраняем 6 минут. Теперь нам дали лоудаут Тона. Особенность лоудаут Тона заключается в том, что у него есть ракеты, которые после 3 тиков, после 3 локов, так скажем, он выпускает барраж ракет. Чтобы локнуться, нам, соответственно, нужно выстрелить 3 раза по цели. И вот вы видели, как раннер просто стакнул локи на Кейне и на Бруте. И просто выпустил все ракеты, и эти все ракеты попали в Брута. Здесь мы локнулись снова в Кейна. Выпустили в него барраж ракет, а потом, грубо говоря, ультанули своим сальвакором. Сальвакор — это тоже огромное количество ракет. Лаконится. Вот, после его убийства мы поднимаем радиомодуль с его шлема. Теперь мы сможем слышать переговоры Курбана Близко и других его наемников.
we come right back down. But if I jump and tap right, you see we actually move to the right a little bit. Same thing with left, same thing with forward, same thing with back. Again, this mechanic is available on mouse and keyboard, but is not available on controller due to how the game reads analog and digital movement. So there are, as I said, advantages and disadvantages, but more or less what you need to know is although controller does not give access to the lurch mechanic, the controller is still 100% viable for this game because the 80% world record has been held by a controller runner by the name of Cash Mail. You might know him due to his famous gauntlet runs. His gauntlet world record, by the way, was beaten by 1.1 second yesterday. But today, actually, yeah. That is just crazy. But now we're done with Blood and Rust, and we're moving on into the level Into the Abyss. So
Раннер нам сейчас рассказывал про то, что игра ранится также на контроллере, спокойно, и это довольно-таки соревновательно, но мы не разговариваем про контроллеры. Контроллеры — это плохо.
This level in any percent is kind of the snooze fest. You embark into BT, and then you do some basic Titan movement the whole time through in order to get on over through the level like intended. But in all helmets, there's actually these couple of helmets here at the start that you need to pick up. This is not going amazingly. I have not.
No, all these rocks, they all have like their
Вначале нам нужно поднять парочку шлемов, которые рядом лежат. В целом, левел представляет собой не особо что-то такое удивительное. Нам нужно просто в основном передвигаться на Титане.
And especially at the beginning of this level, the checkpoint system in this game is not super kind. Now coming up, we're going to be grabbing helmet number 3, which is in this really kind of tucked away location here. This level is a lot different than it is in any percent, and the strat here, the really fast strat, is so difficult. It's probably the hardest strat in the entire run. So naturally in America,
Данный уровень отличается раутингом от any percent, очевидно, потому что здесь нам нужно ходить и собирать шлемы.
But fortunately, there are these like 4 walls right here that we can use to just kind of navigate around these 90-degree corners to get over here. Take a little safety.
Здесь мы выпрыгиваем из Титана, начинаем просто запрыгивать по стенкам и забираем шлем. И очень классно то, что BT, пока мы там прыгали, подошел чуть поближе, чтобы в него залезать побыстрее. Также я не упоминал по поводу того, что это за полоски вот эти вот снизу на экране. Это полоски заряда дэша. То есть много раз уже раннер сделал дэш в Титане. Позволяет передвигаться чуть быстрее. Здесь переключается лоудаут на скорча, выкидываются 2 напалмовые гранаты, отправляется струя огня, 1 граната и ульта, и все 3 титана вражеские погибают. Поднимаем шлем и делаем чекпоинт релоуд, чтобы быстрее подняться.
For our leaderboard runs, so when the timer is paused during that load screen, it really is an instant teleport. Cool little tech right here. By pressing this button, it actually removes the kill plane that would exist otherwise, and we can jump down and hit the end level trigger that resides down here about 2 seconds faster than waiting on that little platform right there.
Здесь мы нажали на кнопку, лифт поднялся, и после нажатия кнопки на лифте Death Trigger пропадает, и мы можем просто спрыгнуть вниз, тем самым продолжить дальше и сохранить секунды 2-3.
In any percent, this opening movement here that I'm doing, it really doesn't matter because there's a thing called Told Spice Route, which is a unintended route on the outside that gets you to the final platform well ahead of schedule, so even if you're kind of slow, you can still get there absolutely no problem. But the opening movement
Обычно в Any% этот уровень является просто обычным автоскроллером.
And that's because we need to take the intended route. I'm sorry, Marvin, you're in my way, I have to.
Ну, так как мы раним All Helmets.
So, I'm going to end
Здесь
up
будет
dropping the
немножко
EPG
по-другому
here.
все.
You can keep the EPG up until the end of Into the Abyss Chapter 3. However, I do need the Spitfire, and I do need Spitfire for later level, and I also need the EVA 8 for a visual setup later on in the stage. So I have to abandon it for the time being until I learn a different setup. Right here, I'm going to do something known as Swaggy Nose.
Здесь мы дропаем ЕПГ ради Спитфайра. Он понадобится нам чуть попозже. А Ева нам нужна, чтобы сделать сетап.
And this is purely a swag strap, by the way. This level is an auto-scroller, so this saves no time. Okay. Good try, good try. It is nice if you're going faster, just to kind of get ahead of the
раза горизонтальный буст не получился.
Normally for any percent runs, as Fluffy said, we take a route that goes pretty much all the way around the outside. You don't really get to see the level at all. Definitely not the case for this for all helmets. While it's still going to be essentially an auto-scroller, we still have to grab the other helmet, which is right on the intended path. And what you're seeing here, these are pretty actually like ancient strats that Fluffy's doing right now. Back when this game was first being routed, we did not know that this level was an auto-scroller, and so like these skips right here were super important, especially when we were still learning how airstrafing worked in Titanfall 2. So yeah, many hours I would say wasted practicing those when they actually didn't mean anything.
I forgot about the other part. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're alive.
That's usually the reason in any percent that we don't take this
Хоть
route.
нас не раздавили.
Because, you know, there's a lot of moving parts that can kill
Было
you.
опасно.
So yeah. Yeah, it might look like Fluffy's struggling.
В рауте Any персента мы весь уровень, грубо говоря, скипаем по стенке. Но так как это All Helmets, нам нужно поднимать шлемы. О, все здесь как бы идет по старым стратам Any персента.
Alright, so momentum conservation in a sense works that, okay, that was bad.
Unfortunately, the checkpoint right here is like perfect. This is like the best checkpoint in the whole game. Nice.
Попал в бал, к
Give
сожалению.
the dude the mantle. What the? There we go. No, you got that for sure. Okay.
There we go. So that's how that's supposed to look. Unfortunately, you know, every time you do have to reload checkpoint, you do lose some time. But thankfully, the checkpoint there is incredibly forgiving. So we can get up there, pick that helmet up, and then come right back. So as you can see, that is an important thing right there. That is the first platform that'll ever reach this last station here. And it's important that we get here in time because that is basically, as long as we did everything perfectly, which we didn't this time, but that's okay. That is the platform we would have to reach in order to make sure that the stage remains an auto-scroller. So right now, I'm just going to wait out a little bit, try and shoot some of these guys to get their attention, make those guys blow up over there. And now that I've timed it on my head, I'm going to cloak and jump on here. And the point of this is to try and prevent anybody from throwing an electric smoke at me. So there is a possibility that if I jumped on this early, that a Spectre or a Grunt would throw an electric smoke at me and kill me, and that is not fun. So,
or it's possible that you could miss the platform coming out here.
Shh, we don't talk about that.
That's ever happened.
We don't talk about that, Brian. Stop it. We don't talk about it.
I'm not talking about anything. I'm just saying it can
Здесь мы просто ждем,
we got some time for a couple
когда нас перевезут. Мы пытались просто сделать так, чтобы в нас не кинули электрический дым, гранату с электрическим дымом, потому что если у нас кинут гранату с электрическим дымом, есть большая вероятность умереть.
Shoutouts to the always amazing Brian Otto for the excellent commentary. Good luck on the run. Cheers.
Love you, Tiny Tim.
All right. So we're coming up now to another momentum conservation here. This is the most important one in this stage because this is the last thing that can really lose you time. This is dome launch. So I'm going to try and get a visual set up here, and hopefully if I do everything right, it's going to boost me all the way up there, which is going to be where a trigger is that I need to hit in order to continue the level. So let's see what we do.
Сейчас будет буст. Смысл заключается в том, что сейчас эта платформа будет поднимать вверх. В этот момент мы прыгнем. И вот мы прыгнули, и супер.
That's a massive strat. It saves like 10 seconds over even the next fastest strat. So that is really, really cool. And now we have the last helmet to get here. This helmet gets the award for helmet you are most likely to forget. if you attempt to do an all helmets run of Titanfall 2, especially if you're learning this for the first time. Even if you've been running all helmets for a while, it's
Снимаем
very easy
последний
just to kind
шлем
of
на
like zone
уровне.
out on this level because it's just kind of a bit slower paced and forget that one specifically. But fortunately, we're done, and now we're moving on to the second big sequence break in Titanfall 2 and our first out of bounds skip right here. And so there's actually a hole in the geometry right here. And actually, a cool history behind this skip is that we
Здесь
used to do this
просто
skip completely differently
дыра
until
в
a
геометрии,
Respawn
которую мы
developer saw our
обузим.
submission video for
И
Summer
мы
Games Anthem
скипаем
2017,
целую
which was
арену.
like a decade ago now, and said, hey, I worked on this level, and just so you know, there's a faster way to do it. I'm not going to tell you exactly how, but here's a hint. And then after a lot of searching from Taskanos and
Просто
Crowdfina, we ended up
допрыгиваем
finding that
сюда
there's a hole in the wall that allows us to now
и
get over
ждем.
here. And this specific location that we're standing in is important because this dome that's being built right now, the whole what's supposed to be happening here is it's building a combat arena for you to fight in. However, unbeknownst to the player, when the screen blacks out here, we're actually getting teleported to an alternate dome where the fight actually takes place. And by standing in this location, when we teleport, we appear right above the end level trigger. You saw we fell for a bit there, and the level is over. That massive fight sequence has been skipped.
Ждали, подождали,
And
и
just
вот
like
он,
one RUSC,
end-level
it's taken
trigger.
upwards of 5 minutes.
Yeah, so like Bryce said, that is the first out of bounds
Это
in the run
сейвит
out
примерно
of 3.
5
The
минут.
third one is sort of involuntary, but also voluntary. We'll get to it a bit later. But this is Into the Abyss Chapter 3, the final chapter. Again, you would normally be able to have the EPG here. Again, I'll be working on that for a later point. But for now, we're going to try and do a relatively hard strat, but a fast strat to get to this first helmet here. So I'm going to stand up here, and then when it stops moving, I'm going to double jump at the right time, and then hopefully, yep.
Getting that height is so hard, actually.
Yeah, getting that height to get up on top of a wall run there, which allows you to just quickly get up to the height you need to collect this helmet. Now we're going to wall jump off of here, and we're going to go through a routing through
Сложная
this area
стратка, но у
called
раннера
Set
получилось.
by S-Deception. This is an incredibly fast
Потому что
strategy
там
through
довольно
this area,
сложно
which allows you to
взять
might be a
необходимую
bit
высоту.
I think you got it.
Yeah,
you
we're
got
fine.
it. You just gotta uncrouch. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, I knew that. Oh man, I've seen that happen so many times.
I
Yeah.
uncrouched, man.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, if you are like, here's the second helmet just kind of on the way here. If you're holding crouch,
Супер.
like, even like a half second before,
Засейвились.
be nice.
He
Anyway,
dashed away from me twice, by the way. That's just so rude. BT, come on.
You can go back and watch the tape there, by the way. You saw that Fluffy let go of crouch way before they touch the wall. There's just some weird stuff that happens there where the game keeps you crouched, and when you're crouched, you can't grab the wall. It's very frustrating. Anyway, we're coming up on Ash Skip, and I'm sure you have a lot to say about that, Fluff.
Yeah, so Ash Skip is the second out of bounds in the run, and as the name implies, we skip
О.
the Ash boss fight.
Теперь у нас следующий скип,
What?
Whoa, the Ash Skip, we skip Ash.
в котором мы скипнем босс-файт с Эш.
I couldn't read you there, I'm sorry. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the Brute's fly ability to get up on this pipe, and we're going to get past that little rung there and then disembark. What the game is trying
Здесь
to do
мы
is find
в лудауте Брута залетаем на эти трубы и дезэмбаркаемся. После того, как мы дезэмбаркаемся, нас игра пытается понять, куда нас высадить, и высаживает в самое ближайшее место, где много земли, так скажем. А самое ближайшее время, где много земли можно ходить, это out of bounds. Затем мы обратно залезаем, и получается то же самое. И все. Ничего сложного. Чтобы вернуться обратно в баунс, мы залетаем сюда, бежим по трубам и просто вылезаем. Все, конец уровня.
Affecting cause. So if you've played this game before, this is the stage that you remember. If you have a friend who always talks about this game, this is the stage he is talking about. So, the first section here has some waiting periods, but also has relevant movement because you can lose a little bit of time here and there by having a little bit of sloppy movement. But basically, this segment is, what's happening?
Теперь у нас
Why is everything no longer broken?
самый великий уровень в игре.
You want to get from one set trigger to another that swaps the time back and forth, and you want to get through these triggers as fast as possible in order to get to the first big waiting period as fast as possible. So right now I'm doing a bunch of
Самый великий уровень в игре, где нас телепортируют между двумя временами.
So for this segment, I'm going to try and hit some wall kicks here to get as much speed as I can. Ideally, I hit 2, maybe 3 in the best case scenario wall kicks. I'm pretty sure I got 1 good one.
Got a decent amount of speed here.
Yeah, I got 1 good one, which means I got some decent speed. Gonna tap strafe once there to get on here. And then we're gonna fly on over.
Nice,
so
dude.
Lord Dump here, real quick. This is Captain Anderson. We were supposed to be rendezvousing with him. He's just
Один шлем он собрал на сотах, второй шлем он после вот этого вот места, где куча тиков и сталкеров, он пролез справа сверху над забором, там платформа проезжала, он заволранился и вдоль этой стены пробежал, и там был шлем. Да, перед тем, как он сел в BT, он собрал шлем.
Fantastic. Let's get 4 then. I've got a $25 donation here from Lamitz, who says, "Good luck, my lord." I've got a $20 donation here from Styx that says, "So excited to watch this run. Glad it's on before I have to sleep. Best of luck, and I'm rooting for you always, Fluffs."
Ну и все, здесь собрали 2 шлема, и теперь ждем, пока BT все договорят, и сетапимся на следующее место.
Then I'm going to take that moment to remind everyone watching that we do have many amazing bid wars and donation incentives here, including for our next game, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis Any %. You can choose the costume that the runner plays with. That includes Classic, Default, or Regina. At current, Classic is leading with 300, and Default is still getting no love at $0, so we understand who the favorite child is.
Alright, so with the majority of that waiting sequence
Привет,
over,
ESA.
we now are going to wait for BT to throw this little lamppost here into an opening clearing. That opening clearing is technically something we could parkour to if there wasn't an invisible wall in the way. So we're
Теперь ждем, когда BT закинет фонарь зиплайном, запрыгиваем туда по-быстренькому.
Yeah, so this segment coming up here is probably my most proud find ever in this game. So obviously time swapping back and forth, and we can't control it yet, but we can take advantage of our positioning when time does do a swap. So what's going to happen here is the time is going to swap back to the clean timeline, is how we'll refer to it, where you'll see a laser grid, and then when time swaps back, the laser grid won't be there. However, we'll position ourselves in a very specific spot and then hit the right triggers to make the time.
Здесь будет лазер буст.
Boom! Now we just get
Здесь мы сетапим сейчас лазер буст, он же, грубо говоря, damage boost. Из-за того, что времена переключаются, вас спаунят на этом месте, так скажем. Вот. И от этого урона, из-за того, что игра пытается вас вытолкнуть, плюс вы получаете урон, вас вот так вот лончит. Фан факт, как работает этот уровень? Здесь, так скажем, на карте 2 слоя. Первый слой — это сломанное время, второй слой — это нормальное время, не поломанное время. Собственно, что происходит? Допустим, на карте сверху у вас целый уровень из неполоманного времени. Под ним же, по абсолютно тем же координатам, которые отличаются только вертикальными координатами, находится неполоманный уровень. Вот, собственно, когда вы нажимаете на кнопку переключения времени, вас просто телепортирует вверх-вниз.
Really at all. It's really easy to miss these helmets. So this level is kind of split in the middle here by these two lengthy dialogue sequences.
Поэтому особо внимательные зрители могли заметить, когда он бил робота, когда он переключал время, он упал с потолка.
I'm doing alright. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Cool. So yeah, here we go. We're just waiting for Anderson to open the door here, or for the dialogue to end, I should say. And this helmet here has a bit of nuance to it. We want to be just high enough so we can double jump into the ceiling and then kind of get a boost downwards so we can generate enough speed. There you go, to get a slide boost that with speed generated by strafing. So that was not perfect, but you still got the slide boost done there, which is the important part. So now, after this next bit of Anderson dialogue here, we're going to be at one of the most difficult points in the game. I'm not sure what strat choice Fluffy is going to go for here, but let me tell you, there are like 10 different strats for all helmets for navigating these next rooms up here, honestly. That's one of the really cool things about Titanfall 2, is that, you know, there are like 4 or 5 strats for any given room. They're all within like a second or two of each other, and you can really pick and choose, you know, which ones you want to do dependent on like your comfort level and your skill level and all that. This first helmet right here can be pretty difficult because we have to kind of navigate our way through the time swaps here. And the game could be pretty picky with positioning you in relative to like a wall if there's one in the opposite timeline, so it's kind of annoying. And here we come into Hell Room. This room right here, infamous for killing runners and killing runs as a whole. Oh, okay, there we go. There we go. The geometry on these platforms is all super annoying, and we're gonna try to have to navigate through here just the right way. The helmet that's coming up right after
Самое
this
сложное
room,
место на этом
sits
уровне.
at a very high vertical point in between two walls, and obviously you can't see where the helmet is if you're not in the timeline that the helmet exists in. Jeez! Oh man, you might die to the zipline now!
I'm fine. Calm yourself down, Bri. I'm fine. Dang it.
Fluffy's over here like stone cold while I'm the one not playing and the one that's like freaking out all over the place. There we go. Okay, so we got all the helmets. Everything is fine. Fluffy is calm. I'm sure chat is
Все,
totally calm. I'm
поднялись
just over here screaming my
шлемы.
head off and not making it any easier for Fluffy. Anyway, so we got through there, I would say relatively unscathed. Like, I don't really know, the Prowlers were kind of mean, but you could have died, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was definitely a completion of Effect and Cause Chapter 2 in an all-helmet speedrun, I'll say that much.
Those Prowlers, I gotta say it, that has never happened before, so not my not my proudest moment, but you know what, we're good. We're good.
So here we are with Effect and Cause Chapter 3. This is the kind of like climax of this mission here. Very, very straightforward for our purposes right now. There are, since this uses the same level as Effect and Cause Chapter 1, we have already collected the helmets here. And so there's not really much for us to do aside from, you know, go to point A, go to point B. We do have some really cool looking set pieces, and there's a kind of like a frozen time segment that looks really, really cool. But otherwise, we're just kind of going through the intended route here. And yeah, no helmets in Effect and Cause 3
В
or
принципе,
Beacon
здесь
Chapter
ничего
1,
такого
which is the
особенного
upcoming
нету.
chapter,
Здесь
which
мы
is
просто
probably, I would say, probably the
включили
low
телепорт
point of the run, to be sure.
и
Which,
вышли
you
с
know,
уровня.
Effect and Cause 3 is a fun level on its own, but in all helmets, when you don't have anything new to do, you're just kind of like, okay. Anyway, this looks really pretty.
Yeah, so time is completely frozen here as the arc just exploded inside of a miniature version of the fold weapon. We'll get into that later. And as a result, the device, I guess, is protecting us in a way by allowing us to move in frozen time here, which allows us to complete our mission objective, which is to come up here and scan the arc. And we're done with the stage now. And as Brian mentioned, there's no helmets to collect here, and there's no helmets to collect in the next stage, Beacon Chapter 1. Definitely the low point of all helmets if you're running it to do something different from any percent, as there is absolutely nothing different to do. You do the same strats between both stages. So, with that being said, this is a small cutscene to the end of the stage here. We probably got time for one donation.
Be great if I could unmute my mic in time. That's probably the best way to do this.
Пока мы ждем,
I
там
actually want to take a
зачитываю
quick moment
донаты.
to remind you all that we do have amazing prizes for you all to donate to, and it's cumulative, so every donation you put in through the week, including the grand prize.
Игра
Sony PlayStation 5
великолепная,
Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart.
замечательная.
Where else are you
Даже
gonna get that?
ее стоит пройти даже ради синглплеерного опыта,
For real.
ради синглплеерного экспириенса,
Yeah,
потому
like,
что
as
синглплеер
far
в
as I'm
этой игре
concerned,
тоже
PS5s don't exist
великолепный.
until, you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe a PS5 exists.
Игра
But you
вышла,
could probably
как я
get your
говорил в
hands on one if
начале,
you donate for it, so you should
рано
definitely do that.
между
That's amazing that
Battlefield
even
1 и
the PS5
Call of
is
Duty
a
Advanced
prize. That's
Warfare,
awesome. Anyway, so here we are, Beacon Chapter 1.
тем
This level
самым
is a bit of a doozy.
обрекая
Has a lot of really
на
weird
муки
geometry.
вечные.
Unlike the other levels that have a bunch of rocks, the geometry
Потому
on these
что
ones
плеер-база
doesn't
была
really
разделена
match
вообще на
the
две
visual
части,
model for
и
them,
о
so it's
Titanfall
kind of
никто
a
раньше не
confusing at times.
слышал,
We do have a bit of
поэтому
a
игра не получила
interesting
достаточного
little slip
охвата
here, though, that we'll be doing. This was a dialogue skip that was found by Volta, one of our longtime console runners. So essentially, the gist of it is here that we're going to come down to these stalkers down here that are attacking this building and just punching walls. We're going to eliminate all of them and then run back to BT as fast as we can. And if we do it quick enough, and emphasis on quick enough, we'll be back at BT by the time the game is doing the first check to like basically progress the game. So we have all the objectives done, and what'll happen is about like
Здесь мы делаем
45
диалог
seconds of
skip.
dialogue, we'll just skip
Мы
pretty
по-быстрому
much instantly.
пробегаем к
So
этой
really,
двери и
really
убиваем
nice,
всех
very nice
сталкеров.
skip to have.
Потом
There we
возвращаемся
go.
обратно к BT.
Well ahead of time. So I'm going to take a little bit of safety here. There is a possibility the game
Перед
could
нужным
crash if you
триггером.
try and embark immediately into BT there. So by waiting a little bit, you can oftentimes completely circumvent the possibility of that. So now
И от того, что все эти сталкеры уже мертвы, BT говорит, хорошая работа, мы уничтожили всех все цели, и мы можем спокойно сюда зайти. Важно немножко подождать, а не сразу же зарезать BT, иначе игра может крэшнуться.
If we could find a way to reliably get out of bounds and get to that end level trigger, we could skip this like 30-ish second sequence of dialogue.
Really, yeah, this is one of the most infamous skips that we've tried to find in the game. We've had a lot of theories thrown at it, but really once we get BT in here, we don't have a reliable way to get out of bounds and also in a position that allows us to hit the end level trigger. So definitely one of the many theorized skips for this game. Сейчас
нам рассказывают то, что триггер на окончании уровня находится за этой стеной, и раннеры уже долгое время пытаются попасть туда через ООБ, но пока они не нашли способ, как туда попасть.
IL individual level from like a world record history perspective, and also in terms of competition, Reginald's 142.65 on this level is actually legendary. That said, it's not too different in all helmets. The movement through here is going to be relatively similar, where we're going to be just kind of navigating around these electric walls, which will kill us. We have one helmet to get in this early part, and it's actually in a room that we're going to end up skipping entirely. So what we want to do is come through here and grab the helmet, and then we want to just get across this bridge, get the checkpoint, instantly reset the checkpoint, and actually just grab this grenade launcher here and take a death warp, which is going to put us at the perfect spot for a skip known as Kill Room skip. So
скип, похожий на скип в Any%. Смысл в том, что здесь сначала мы поднимаем шлем, делаем перезагрузку чекпоинта и убиваемся об стенку, чтобы вернуться на предыдущее место. Но перед этим мы поднимаем софтбол, чтобы сделать вот такой вот grenade jump небольшой. Вот, Deathbox находится довольно-таки высоко, но из-за буста софтболом у нас получается достаточно высоты, чтобы допрыгнуть до той колонны, завуланиться и отпрыгнуть от нее.
We're going to grab this big shooty zappy gun here, the hacker gun, the arc tool, whatever you want to call it. Kill the Marvin, thank you.
Нет, до этого места мы еще не дошли. Расход нас еще не хотят пустить.
And we're going to use it again for the second fan launch coming up. And we want to hit this fan launch just perfectly to get the right vertical height to grab this. That's so smooth. That is actually really... Oh! Well... So that is actually really hard to do to get the correct vertical push from the fan.
Oh my goodness.
До шлема долетел, а вот и второй раз не долетает.
A little bit of summer fun, you know, just playing on a little trampoline. Yep. Anyway, so now we're moving on up to the next big skip of the level. This is going to be heatsink skip. There's a little movement puzzle that we would have to do to navigate through the heatsink. And by doing this movement, we'll actually be able to pretty well navigate around the outside of it. Fluffy's going to use a little damage boost, or he's going to get source splash damaged and not get it, but they get it anyway. So that was really nice. And we hop into that room just to hit a trigger. And now we're on basically the home stretch. We're not quite done yet, though. All of this movement that we have right here, or all the speed, this is an intended amount of speed that you get from the fan. We're going to try and convert this into a wall kick. So we have to kind of navigate through here and then hit this fan at the right angle. Nice! Perfect. Both wall kicks. That was super well done. Definitely makes up for everything else that happened there.
Тип получился. Сначала мы отпрыгнули от стенки, и Райнер пытался подсобить себе немножко софтболом, но он не получил урон и не взорвалось, но все равно долетел. Потом, после вот этих вот мест, где нужно было пролететь по пенам, которые были в виде арки, черт, я не могу русский язык сейчас, вот эти вот изогнутые стены, у вас там была куча скорости, вот, и что пытаемся сделать в ране, это то, что мы пытаемся сохранить всю эту скорость, которую мы получили, и отпрыгнуть 2 раза волл-киками, чтобы пролететь и не переключать стенки, которые кидали бы нас слева-право.
Yeah, Super Curveball is not only like one of the best strat names in my opinion, especially when you compare it to Fastball, but also like just one of the best strats in Titanfall 2.
Yeah, so real quick, the start of the stage is just you need to go in here and power up that sequence to power up the beacon, and then the beacon fails, and then now that triggers us to have to go through the level to get another beacon, repair it, blah, blah, blah. That room is supposed to have radiation, but you can actually just go in there in easy difficulty, take a nap, come back, and you'll still be alive. It will not kill you on easy difficulty, so... Right now we are waiting here, so I'm in my little cubby. I look down on all the peasants down below, like Sergeant McCord and Captain Cole over here, just peasants. I am the pilot. I am strong. I look down on all of you. I love you though, BT. I'm not looking down on you. You look up to me most of the time.
I like that he put his fist up right when you said that.
Сейчас ничего не происходит, просто катсцена проигрывается.
There's going to be a little bit of thing we need to do before that we can do Super Curveball. So as I embark into BT here, I'm going to let Bri take the reins and explain that.
Yep, so this is the key element of this iconic part of the run. So we're going to be doing a glitch here called Moon Boots. Moon Boots is super interesting. It was discovered entirely on accident by Taskanos when we were trying to figure out ways to clip through walls by disembarking from BT. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap to the Brute loadout, which has
Сейчас будет скип, который показывали нам еще перед началом рана. Соответственно, мы переключаемся сейчас в лодаут Брута, подходим к стенке, взлетаем и дезэмбаркаемся. И от этого у нас уменьшается гравитация, и мы можем прыгать выше. Этот глич уменьшает гравитацию примерно на 15%. Мы сейчас подняли пару шлемов, и сейчас BT нас кинет в сторону тех зданий.
This is Super Curveball. First time ever in a marathon. Best of luck, Fluffy. This is very difficult.
Очень сложный трик сейчас будет. Супер курвбол.
Now we gotta get the slide straight up there. Not go too high. Very well done. Got the helmet. Now we have to take an extended slide hop to make sure we get the right vertical height to get up here. This looks good. Now we just have to convert all the momentum. Hard tap strafe to the right. Jump off the crane. Fluffy is doing it. Super curveball. ESA Summer 2021. That was so well done. Nicely done, Fluffy. That is seriously so difficult to navigate that like that.
Отлично. У раннера получается это сделать. Обычно вы не перестанете, мы просто по правую сторону начинаем лететь.
How do you feel right now? You nailed it. How do you feel?
Adrenaline is rushing, dude. It wasn't perfect, but it was still good.
Подняли шлем, делаем тапстрейфы в сторону стенок, волл-раним.
Mega hard part. So getting past that is just such a good feeling. Such a grin on my face right now. I am adrenaline pumping. All right, so we're not quite done with things yet. So this is a Grav Star boost. So I'm going to pick up this helmet and get boosted by this Gravity Star, which is going to
Grav Star boost.
Gap that I wouldn't otherwise normally be able to
Отлично.
and allows me to skip a section where I have to move the dish into position to jump to. And the great thing about Grav Stars is they don't actually kill you, even if you're in the direct center.
Grav Star бустом мы сейчас заскипали.
We can use that for a thing. No, Pete Zipless here, and Bri can take it away again.
Секцию, где нужно поворачивать было тарелку. Еще один графстар буст. Пустимся от звезды. Делаем волл-кик. Еще один буст.
Fortunately, this trick doesn't end in the hyper difficult way that it does in any percent. We just need to get inside this building here. But we need this last gravity star for an important trick right here. So we're going to pre-place the gravity star, then go grab the helmet, then come back, then do the gravity star boost, and it's perfect. Just to get all the way across, that's a strong boost, take a wall kick, just so
забираем шлем и летим обратно к BT. Супер.
For a marathon Beacon Chapter 3, this is being absolutely dismantled and shredded.
Осталось чуть-чуть в этой миссии.
Alright, so this little fight sequence here is sort of an auto-scroller. There's
немножко файт.
Timers that are going on here. I'm going to do a little optimization. Thank you, Smitty. So, more or less, the game is spawning like a very large number of enemies, but at a certain point in this fight, it'll stop spawning enemies infinitely.
Графстар буст также работает в мультиплеере.
To go get some more helmets. So, right now, I'm not getting anybody.
Очень много классных трикшотов было сделано с этим.
So around this point is after shooting a missile at that guy, I want to disembark, and now what I want to do is I want to get as much height as I can, jump on over here to get to this side. Typically in the 90% route, we'd wait for the gong for the most part, and then we'd climb up straight to the top. But because there are still 2 more helmets we need to grab, we're going to wait until the game stops infinitely spawning enemies, hope that BT takes care of the rest of them, and pick up these 2 helmets. I lost my train of thought. Pick up these 2 helmets and get to the top before the dish fully drops down. So the gong has happened. All of the enemies are now dead. I'm having a little trouble with this jump, but
this platforming here can be a little bit annoying, especially
Сейчас мы просто пытаемся залезть наверх и собрать доступные шлемы.
Like suddenly navigating through this becomes a lot more difficult. And I'm not like being like facetious or anything. Like this has literally happened to me before. So definitely a very familiar setting to be in. This little helmet grab right here looks scary, but navigating around here actually isn't too difficult. The wall here is like pretty generous, and we just have to kind of navigate on the wall here, take a wall jump around the outside, and we are at the very top. So, yep, now we're just gonna install the module. We're gonna fix the thing. We're gonna do the objective to advance the game. And we're gonna transition into a very iconic scene with Cooper and BT here.
And hopefully we'll have some fireworks in the process. Beautiful. Alright, so that is the pilot segment of Beacon Chapter 3, all done and done. I had a little bit of slop at the end there, couldn't quite get those jumps the way I wanted to, but as Bryce said, it looks harder than it actually is. Sorry, it looks
easier than it actually is.
В целом все, это был весь уровень за пилота.
Fight that we have to do before we can finish up the stage. So this first set of Reapers here, we're just going to kill 3 melees. We're not going to use any of our bullets or abilities because we can kill these guys, and the next set of enemies spawns at the same time interval no matter what. So we're going to pre-position to spawn manipulate them in here, dash forward, throw our arc wave so that we can kill these 2 in a 2 melees rather than 1, shoot this guy 4 times to take him down, and now we're going to come over here. We're going to
Есть куча оптимизации,
and we're going to look and stand in this position so that
так как мы знаем, что Риперы всегда там спаунятся. Кидаем напалм 2 точки, сжигаем брута, добиваем Ронина.
So this is a kind of infuriating cutscene because real quick, there are these like guns that are firing, but they just stop firing even though he gets out of his Titan, and like we're right in front of him. We could just punch him. We could just
turn him into Richter.
And we can't do it. It's so frustrating. And I hate it.
He's also invincible during this too, so even if you find a way to damage him outside of it, which you can, he doesn't die.
So this is a Scorched-related Richter fight strat here. He's kind of trolling me here. But I thankfully still managed to kill him relatively quickly and got the execute
Просто сжигаем его.
Before he did his missile barrage, which can cause a glitchy execution. And just like that, we are now completely done with the beacon.
Кидаем ему под ноги напалм.
Some mistakes. I'm very happy with that showing for
Пускаем волну огня, сжигаем его, ультуем и дожигаем.
The easy stuff. So you know, I think like honestly, I would take that in a marathon any day of the week. You know.
Yeah, 100%. Hope everyone enjoyed that, but we're not done with the run yet. With that being said, we are in a unskippable cutscene at this point. We're just waiting for the level to end. So this is a great time for a few donations.
Alrighty, this has been a request in chat a few times here. I ended up getting 2 donations here to read a voice line from later in the game, so spoilers not, we'll see. There's $10 from Zacharaz141 and $5 from Pandas Are Robots, which is a great name. Let's see what I can do here. Voodoo 1, Vipers on station. Your journey ends here, pilot. The skies belong to me. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Got you in the pipe 5x5.
That was really good, actually.
That was very good, actually.
That was really good, actually. Yeah, I was like, what was this, Viper?
Thank you.
We have a little treat coming up later on for that, too. If you didn't notice earlier, Fluffy is a very good voice actor, which we will be seeing later on. So, yeah, fun fact, by the way, as you've noticed, we're sitting through a lot of dialogue here. This level in particular, I mentioned at the beginning of the run that we're playing in Mandarin because the dialogue is a lot shorter.
Сейчас просто ждем, когда
This
катсцена
level
закончится.
alone accounts for 1/3 of all of our time saved by playing in Mandarin. We save upwards of 12 seconds here, just in this level by itself. So very, very important Mandarin in Beacon Chapter 3.
All right, so the lore of the situation here is that we have managed to contact the militia fleet, and since we scanned the Ark, we know where it is, so we're going to be heading to a facility where the Ark is to try and take it away from the IMC, which will lead us into the level Trial by Fire. This is probably the most unique level in the entire speedrun due to the fact that most levels contain either entirely pilot movement or partially pilot movement and partially Titan movement/combat, whereas this stage is almost exclusively Titan combat and movement. So the first thing we're going to do when this cutscene finishes off here is we're going to swap to the Ronin
Вот теперь нас сейчас
loadout,
будут
because the
пускать в
Ronin
расход.
loadout has an ability called Sword Block. Sword Block reduces all incoming damage by 75%. And the reason why this is important is it allows us to get beyond where the game would normally expect us to go. So you see this wall down here that we're dropping to. We can actually get all the way to this wall using the Ronin Sword Block ability. Whereas normally if we tried to do that, the game would shred us and kill us even on easy difficulty in something like 5 seconds. So we're going to pull it out here. Once we start taking damage, dash forward. So we are going to take a whole lot of damage here and enter the
Здесь мы просто переключаемся в Ронина и включаем Swordblock. Swordblock уменьшает весь входящий урон на 75%. Здесь просто подождали мы, когда турели перестанут стрелять и заспавнятся противники. Переключаемся на Скорча и делаем просто вещи, которые делает папа Скорч. Сжигаем. Поднимаем батарейки, чтобы похиляться. Добиваем остальных противников.
We're looking for a dialogue from Sarah Briggs. We are in danger here.
This is spooky. I am
spooky. Need a battery.
That's right there.
I'm just gonna go for this one. I'm just gonna go for this one.
Okay, there's 2 right there. Okay, woof. Goodness.
All right, not the greatest moment there, but we can.
We're alive. That's all that matters at this point.
Yeah, so right now I'm trying to hit at least 1 or 2 more of these guys down. There it is. So that's the dialogue we're looking for. Sarah Briggs saying, "Pilot, you're with me." So at this point, I'm gonna just dash to get past her because she was in my way. So at this point, we use the
Сейчас ждали просто, когда Сара Брикс скажет определенную линию диалога.
Because we do want to have 100 core by the end of this segment. So thankfully, Sarah is already inside the elevator.
Переключились на Ронина и пошли дальше. Подняли шлем.
Cleverly unquote disguised escort mission. We need to get Sarah to this elevator at the end of the sequence in order to progress the level. We have found ways to skip the elevator, but unfortunately Sarah needs to get to that elevator if we're going to progress the level. So now we're going to use our Ronin core here again. We're going to slash this guy twice.
На самом деле, эта миссия — это просто эскорт-миссия, очень хорошо запрятанная. Нам нужно обязательно, чтобы Сара дошла с вами до лифта. Если она не дойдет, то игра дальше просто не пойдет.
Yeah, this is the worst helmet in the game. Because we have to get this awful helmet to get that I have never understood how to do optimal movement in this entire section.
It's so dumb.
I do not understand. I just do not understand. So hopefully, at this point, Sarah would be here at this point or approaching, and she's trolling.
Well, are you joking me?
Sarah,
this is pretty ridiculous. So that was what you would expect from like an any % run. But the fact that we're able to take 2 detours for helmets and then Sarah was still taking her sweet time is a little unlucky.
Alright, so don't listen to Sarah there. That was the hard part of the level. The easy part of the level is coming up here. So we're gonna do an audio cue. We're gonna dash and
Все, сложная часть уровня пройдена. Осталось довольно легкая.
We're gonna swap back to Ronin, and this is important for a reason, because the last helmet that we need to grab is over on here. So we're gonna do a disembark boost, which is crouching when disembarking from a Titan. Get on over to this helmet here, and then we're gonna wall run back, get back into BT, and now it's just a bunch of Titan movement to the end of the level. So, something you may have noticed is that when the Ronin's sword core is activated,
собрали шлемы, и теперь до конца мы будем сидеть в Титане.
So that is important because being able to use these quick refresh dashes.
Почему используем Ронина? Так это потому что в то время, когда он делает sword block, его дэш регенится намного быстрее. Как вот могли вы сейчас видеть, полоска стала не серой, а оранжевой, когда он доставал меч.
I'm speaking to just to be clear, Fluff. I'm speaking to the stream right now, not to you. I'm not trying to like condescend you or anything. Yeah. No, oftentimes you'll see players like swap off of Ronin to build core faster, just because every time you swap to a new loadout, it does give you a full ammo readout. Or full ammo loadout. So yeah, for fast core building, it's normally like Ronin, Brute, and Scorch. Usually the ones that we're going for.
What is this? Excuse me? Trolled. I'm trolled. I'm getting trolled. That has never happened before. I have never seen that tone just slide in my way like that. What was that?
Yeah, this level is, yeah, you're being trolled.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so that might have been a lot of things at once.
Новый метод регена ядра, то есть вашей ультимейта вашего Титана, это переключаться на Брута, запускать пару ракет, заряжать немножко ядро, переключаться обратно на Ронина. Смысл в том, что когда вы переключаетесь, у вас регенится полностью патроны.
We do not pick up the ion loadout in normal gameplay in the speedrun. The reason why we allow going back to the main menu to use mission select to get the ion loadout is because the mission select screen unlocks that level every time, the first time you ever load into that level.
Сейчас мы выходили в главное меню и зашли обратно на уровень, чтобы получить лоудаут для Титана, лоудаут Ion. Во время спидрана мы его не получили, но если мы выходим в главное меню и обратно загружаемся через чекпоинт, этот лоудаут у нас есть. Работает это примерно так же, как и в Half-Life 2, когда вы выбираете какой-нибудь эпизод, у вас там вначале в руках какие-то определенные пушки появляются.
All things considered, we want to get to the boss fight against this guy here, Viper, with as little trouble as possible. And Viper is great.
Так, нам показывают самого лучшего босса в этой игре.
I've got good tone. And he will destroy the ship we're in, which will lead us to the actual gameplay segment here. So, we're going to come up on Barker's skip. By the way, BT's up there. He's waving at us. Hi, BT. What's going on? And now he's here. So, hopefully we get this frag boost going first try. That'd be the greatest situation here. But I do need an audio and a visual cue here, so I'm going to need a little bit of quiet.
Сейчас будем пытаться сделать frag grenade boost.
Oh, that nasty set of RNG there. Yeah,
Не получилось.
That's a really hard one to navigate.
Yeah,
Слишком
so
поздно.
Barker Skip has probably the single biggest variance of any trick in the game. It can have several elements that can screw you over.
Looks a bit better. Dang. Okay.
Damn, not getting enough height from the grenade,
Не
unfortunately.
долетел все равно.
And Barker's also tilting down as well, which isn't helping.
Yeah, definitely something to be expected here. This might make it. Oh, gonna overshoot perfectly. Yeah, there's a lot of factors that are at play here. To
Перелетел.
correctly read a lot of these situations, you have to read the angle that the 6-4 coming in, the angle the ship is tilted at. You might want to sit on the grenade for a bit longer than not. Very, very difficult trick, Barker.
Очень сложный трюк.
Oh, please get on the ship. No!
Did you get a checkpoint? I wonder if it gave you a
I
checkpoint on the
don't
ship.
know.
Oh my
Ну,
goodness. This is super duper difficult. Yeah, this
Да
is
что ж
definitely
такое?
like not an uncommon thing to happen in a run.
Yeah, so it's super common. And then I killed myself, which is another possibility that can happen.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, this is why the estimate is very large in comparison to my PB, because there are a lot of factors that can go really wrong in the run. This is one of them.
Yep.
Oh, I jumped way
And
too
this
early
is,
that
and
time.
this is where it gets really difficult,
Очень
especially from a
сложный
runner's
скип,
perspective,
опять не
because when you
долетели.
start
Ладно,
messing
не
up on
переживайте,
this
эстимейт здесь
you're wondering, like,
намного
okay,
больше,
am
чем
I doing,
ПБшка
like,
у
anything
раннера.
wrong? What is the sort of adjustments do I need to make? Maybe make the adjustment and nothing happens, and so it's very easy to kind of like psych yourself out in this scenario. So this is definitely just kind of like a buckle down and try and finish it out sort of scenario.
Yeah, so I just quickly reloaded an NCS save to maybe adjust the RNG values a little bit, and you've got to be kidding me, dude.
Oh my goodness gracious. So overshooting once is one thing, overshooting twice is another. Anyway, okay, so here we are coming up on Barker for the first try. Good luck, Fluffy.
Марафон лак включился. Просто марафон лак.
Wow, first try Barker in a marathon. That is
Ну.
super well done.
О, все, first try.
Into another skip here,
Все нормально.
which is the 6-4 skip. So once again, there's another scripted sequence of events the game wants to have happen, but we can actually just completely ignore that by sliding at the right time here. And then we got a really good seed with the 6-4 as well, which allowed us to slide in and grab that helmet immediately. That is about as well as 6-4 skip can go in this situation. I'm gonna live. I will live. I'm definitely not die in this scenario.
The amount of times this run that you've come within, like,
fine,
a few feet of death. Oh my.
I'm okay. It's perfectly fine. All right. So first try Barker, first try 6-4. A little bit of trouble there, but it's no big deal. So up next here is a gun battery clear segment.
Ну все, супер. First try Barker skip, first try 6-4 skip. Все замечательно.
So as I jump here, I'm gonna pull a frag grenade. Gonna throw it at these guys at the right time. The game is gonna tackle me over. I'm gonna make sure to shoot that guy. Where these guys? They came up. Where's this last guy? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He activated the.
Well, that's unfortunate. He just kind of got completely.
I think you're fine.
Nope. Okay.
Oh, dang it. Okay, so
there's another guy alive. What is this?
Yeah, it was the two dudes that are sitting over on the left side when you approach the gun battery. I don't think your frag damaged them at all, so they both saw you and like instantly ran away.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, well, a little bit of slop, but that's just sometimes the things that can happen. All right, so right now, okay, cool. Davis came down first.
Зачистили это место, подбираем обратно Spitfire.
First sometimes where he'll just hang on the zip line and float off into the distance and the level.
Скоро будет у нас босс-файт с Вайпером.
It's hilarious, but it is just very sad when it happens if on a good pace run. So right now here, we're going to get the second helmet. I'm going to take a safety strat here by jumping and getting on top. Oop, well,
we're not doing the safety strat. We're doing the fast one. Nicely done.
Get on the wall, please. Okay.
Cooper.
There we go.
Cooper.
Nice.
There we go.
Jack Cooper getting on the wall. Let's go. All right, so now we are in a hangar clear segment where we've got to take out
Опасные какие-то мувы сейчас были, чуть мы в пропасть не упали.
Is scripted to take out a certain number of enemies, but however, they will not take out all of them. So what we need to do in this situation is we need to kill a specific certain enemies in certain areas, and then a certain number of them in other places. So right now, I'm using the Mastis here to clean out the right ones, and now we're gonna head on up here to kill these guys up here. These are the last things I need to do. I hate when this happens, but sometimes when the ship tilts, what is a standable ramp turns into a.
Здесь нам нужно убить определенное количество определенных противников.
This is the second worst helmet in the game, by the way. This one,
Убиваем их, включается триггер.
Yeah, this one is like extremely out of the way. This one's all the way down here, and getting back up from this position is really, really annoying. You have to like finish the fight up top, then you come down, then you have to go back up again. And due to the way that the ship is tilting, you can't reliably have like a super fast strat there other than literally just walking up the stairs. It's really, really frustrating. So yeah, combining that with room clear and everything else that the arc has to throw at you can be, yeah, again, really frustrating.
All right. So I apologize for any loud sound you might have heard there. For some reason, I have a bug where if I go back and grab that helmet, there's an engine sound that is supposed to be really soft, turns out to be max volume. So if you heard anything, I do apologize. I forgot to warn you all, but hopefully it didn't happen. My commentator didn't hear it the last time I tested it. Yep. So this section here, we're gonna stab our handy dandy data knife, which is just a knife you stab into things and it hacks them. And we're steering this giant ship with a knife inside of a console. Don't worry about it. Plot convenience is a great thing. I am using a controller instead of mouse and keyboard.
Корабль хайджекнуть.
Analog movement is significantly easier and less frustrating than aiming it with digital.
Точнее, угнать.
This is the last thing that can potentially screw me. Okay, so there is a thing that can happen where sometimes the fall tower will bug out as you come off of that console and it will kill you. The game can also crash on that console. But now that we're past all that, we get to go to my favorite part of this level because I get to do something I enjoy all the time on my own stream.
Итак, мы прибыли к величайшему моменту. Файт с лучшим боссом.
So, here we go with a brand new Viper fight strat. We're gonna double shoot Viper there with the laser shot to get his shields down. Now we're gonna try and lay into him with his tone as much as possible, get the rockets off, and then now what we're trying to do is eliminate Viper ASAP, which can be really hard to do when he's flying through the air like this. That was really good. So now we just built up core. We're going to come around and use it on the Scorches. We're kind of doing this fight in like the reverse order that would be intended normally. And due to the length that this fight is taking, this is a little scary now. So there's quite a few moving parts that are happening here.
Ну, это был Viper.
So if you do Viper fight fast enough in this next scripted cutscene that plays out,
была новая страта по драке с Вайпером. Обычно сначала убивали двух скорчей, а потом Вайпера.
That encompasses it. However, if you're like a little bit slow, you'll kind of toe that line in between, and you'll end up both.
Сейчас по-другому все. Ну, Вайпер на самом деле еще не мертв.
There's a couple really nasty things that can happen here, where you can die instantly, or you start getting instantly pushed by the box. So if you look at this side, the screen's kind of artifacting a bit. That means we're out of bounds. Now what we're looking for. Now we're outside of the box, and the box is rapidly catching up with us. And okay, we got lucky. Right there, you saw that the screen went back to normal. That means that the box passed over us just as the cutscene was ending, and we don't have to do any more shenanigans with trying to clip back and bounce. So that was really scary. That could have been like a literal soft lock, like end of the run. Fortunately, we're all good.
That was a really good arc. That was first try Barker, first try 6-4, a little bit of scuffness on the battery, but it was a decent room clear, a good Viper fight. Overall, it was pretty good.
Теперь мы потихонечку подходим к концу игры.
I'm definitely not already losing 50 seconds to my gold. Alright, so the arc is basically done at this point. There is nothing we can do to speed up this next sequence here. It's about a minute 55 from giving the killing blow to Viper to the level ending. So there's just a scripted sequence here where we got to get over to this little containment unit and pull the arc out of it in order to get it away from the IMC, because they're trying to take it to a giant weapon, the fold weapon, which can fold space and time and blow up planets. If it sounds like Star Wars, yes, you'd be correct. Anyway, this is a pretty good time to get in a few donations.
Сейчас мы просто ждем конца уровня, потому что, в принципе, ничего не происходит здесь такого раннерского.
Who put their donation towards the Resident Evil 3 Nemesis 90% costume choice for Regina, which brought that total up to $164. Still having a bit of a tough time there beating out the classic choice, but we're getting there. That incentive will be.
Ну, интересно, собственно, что мы здесь делаем. Это мы пытаемся украсть вот это ядро, потому что с помощью этого ядра AMC может запустить пушку, которая просто будет уничтожать планеты. Корабль падает. Выбраться мы уже не можем. BT закрывает нас ближайшими обломками какими-то.
I love that phrasing. The ship has exploded in many ways.
So, the fold weapon is one of my favorite parts to get to in the run because you might have heard me do it earlier with Kane and with Viper. I love to voice act, and this opening cutscene here is my absolute favorite to voice act in the entire game, so here we go.
Подходим мы все ближе и ближе к концу игры.
Once you have delivered the Ark as per your contract, your payment will be transferred by the IMC. Just have my money ready. I'll get you your precious cargo, you useless niff. Oi, Titan, you're gonna open up and give me what I want. Voice command, not recognized. Let me just rip it out of him. We can't risk it. The Ark's unstable. Listen, hero.
Вот и Курбан близко поближе.
And I want it back. Go on. Tell your Titan to open up. About what? His feelings? Still trying to be a hero, eh? I have a lot of dosh running on this contract, my friend. So tell your Titan, if he doesn't open up, I will shoot you in the head. Pilot in jeopardy. Ocular systems marginal. Cannot visually acquire pilot. Stand him up. You see him now? Right here. Right here. Yeah? You see him now? Functions compromised.
Зачем он дублирует игру? Ему просто нравится весь этот диалог.
Deep down, something still working there. Now open up, or I'm going to shoot your pilot in the head. You still remember numbers, don't you? I'm going to count to 3.
Просто для тех, кто не играл, лучше не слышите. Лучше сами прочувствуйте вообще всю игру. Концовка просто великолепная, замечательная.
Alright, pay attention to Blisk here. He's gonna do his little flip on the right side, and then he just sucks himself into the vents, or into the grates, and it's just great.
That was really fun to listen to, Fluffy. Thank you for that.
Alright, so real quick, epilepsy warning. There is a bunch of flashing lights coming up here, so I would advise you to look away from the screen if you are sensitive to that. I will let you know when you can look back. One last little thing. Nice try, love. Say goodnight. Alright, the flashing lights are over now. You should be safe to look back. Alright, so that is the opening cutscene basically done with. There's one little bit of gameplay segment here that has a small optimization found by Fox, I believe.
Yes.
BT уничтожен.
Normally you're just supposed to wait around until BT calls for you. However, if we stand up here and then back into the fire behind
Objective
us,
survive.
we can actually cause BT to call for us way earlier than intended. This saves about 5 seconds in total. So BT here is going to tell us that he can no longer uphold the mission.
Так как BT это робот,
once again, as part of Protocol
это
3, he's going to
искусственный интеллект, точнее, он сейчас отключит свою, так скажем, штуку со всеми инструкциями
This is a literal aimbot pistol that they put in the multiplayer of the first and second game for some reason. Don't ask
С
me why.
инструкциями для Титана. Также в этой штуке находятся вещи для survival kit, так скажем. В этом survival kit находится Smart Pistol. Smart Pistol — это такая штука, это самонаводящийся пистолет, пистолет aimbot. И также в этом ките находится Data Knife. Дата-нож, с помощью которого мы им уже пользовались, с помощью которого взламывали разные консоли.
There's a lot of pipes, which we talked about, are very rude, and there's a lot of grunts in the way as well. And also, there's a very large risk of death that can happen as well. And if we do die, we get
Также этот пистолет присутствует в мультиплеере первой и второй части. В первой части его можно было доставать прям так. В Titanfall 2 с ним можно побегать только если у вас он выбран в качестве Death Streak. Что такое Death Streak? Это, допустим, вы 5 раз подряд погибли, и после этого можно достать Smart Pistol и пойти обратно наказывать людей.
All the speed that we're going to be building through this segment here with the wall kicks is pretty much going to be for naught. I mean, a side beam just to get us from point A to point B faster. It's sitting up on the upper left side of this room coming up here on the top of these kind of wires. We're just taking this right here to get us a bit more vertical height to get us up where we need to go. And you can see it if you look there, it's glowing blue. It's up there right now. And the getting up here, as you can already see, is just so annoying to try and navigate around these wires and around the pipes. And we're just going to take a little safety stride here, just do a little bit of a corner climb just to get up on top. You can see, this is what I was talking about. This helmet is just so frustrating. Anyway, we finally got it. Now we're on to the Titan segment here. We got the replacement chassis for BT. We're going to install the data core, and we are on our way to...
Вот нам высадили нового BT.
All right. So, fun fact about this Titan chassis, although it
Вставляем в него глаз и все.
At the start of the game, this is the Titan chassis we called in at the very beginning of the game in the simulation before the simulation shut down due
Супер, мы
to
снова с BT.
power. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get behind BT and we're going to embark into him, which skips a lot of stuff that the game would normally want you to do. And then we're going to try and use the tone loadout here to build up some core as fast as we possibly can. So we're going to 1, 2, 3 lock on, 1, 2, 3 lock on, do one more lock on with this guy, fire these out, and then we're going to swap to the Ronin loadout. And if we don't have enough, we can always throw an arc wave that'll hit one more of those guys, allowing us to get the Ronin core we need. And now it's just a straight shot coming up to a door. So this door used to be a big what the heck was that?
That's weird geo.
So this door up here used to be a huge sour spot because there was an RNG chance that a Titan could back up into the door. This is just a ramp, by the way. I just needed to get the right angle for it. And open the door, but if not, you just like had to kill Titans for 3 minutes. But as it turns out, yeah, the top just
Здесь мы просто залетаем наверх, потому что там нету collision бокса.
Nice, that's really good. That saves a few seconds.
Yeah. There is a backup strat that I can do that is a little bit slower, but the disembark jump is what you really want to see there. So this section is really dangerous, especially these specters here, because they're all carrying missile launchers, and if enough enemies there shoot you, you can and will die, and because of the way fold weapon checkpoints work, you can sometimes be sent back all the way to the start of the Titan sequence there, and it's really annoying. But we're coming up on the very last helmet in the entire run here. It's just right up here. So we're going to come up on here, get a wall jump on there. Hopefully we're going to get up and then pick up this last one here. And now we're going to get on this wall, jump on over to this one. Shout out to Bri for teaching me about this because I soft locked the level going too far to the right before on a PB pace run at one point. That wasn't fun. But now we're heading on into the final boss fight of the game.
Так, последний босс-файт у нас.
Scorch strats away. About time they do something. Listen, a militia pilot's trying to be a hero. He's all yours. Keep the salvage. Who said anything about salvage? I'll do this one for free.
We do have all the helmets now, by the way. We have collected all.
Кстати, к данному моменту мы собрали уже все доступные нам шлемы.
What I like to do here is I like to manip Sloan backwards there with that flame wall, and then use the flame shield here to get her down to the HP threshold where she flies away. So this tone dashed away, but it's fine. We can still end up getting all the core we need off of Sloan here. So we're going to drop a trap, drop the flame wall, and put the flame shield up for a little bit. Then we're going to swap to the Ronin loadout and shoot her twice to make sure that we have the core we need. So nice. Now we're going to activate Sword Core. 1, 2, 3. Kill these Reapers. And killing those 3 Reapers is the trigger for the third phase of her fight to come back out. We're going to pick up that battery for safety. Going to shoot her a little bit here once again, do as much damage as we can. Swap to Ronin loadout, and we did not get pre-charge, unfortunately, but that was still a very solid,
really good
fight overall. And
really
we have activated a glitch here called Andy Shot. So, a Reddit user by the name of Shot Andy at one point said, "Hey, I found a way to do this funny thing in this cutscene. Here's how I did it." And then Brian looked. It was brought to
Босс погиб, сейчас нам будет показывать смешной глич.
Hey, wait a minute. The dialogue is actually progressing. This is going faster. So as a result of Shot Andy, we named this trick the Andy Shot. So as you can see, we have our gun out in this cutscene. This is not intended. And this leads to a very funny
пулемет в руках,
where we make
которого не должно быть здесь. И мы убиваем просто близко.
So amazingly, this does not brick the game in any way. It does not soft lock, hard
Этот
lock,
трюк
crash, or anything like that. It just skips 33
он
seconds.
скипает 33 секунды
The
диалога,
other thing I mentioned before is a thing called pre-charge. It is a pseudo RNG
и этот скип не ломает игру никаким образом, то есть он ее не крэшит, не софлошит.
The PA system needs to say this line, fold weapon priming sequence at 97%. If you start pulling out the arc injector before the PA system says that, the lights inside of the arc injector will already be lit up. That is called pre-charge, and it saves 11 seconds. Unfortunately, I did get a little bit of bad RNG, and the line played before I started pulling out the arc injector. Regardless of that, though, the Sloan fight still went well, and most of the time it generally favors you. Sometimes it goes wrong. Unfortunately, it went wrong this time, but that is okay. We are coming up now to the final sequence.
Итак, мы приближаемся уже
escape sequence. So once we finish climbing into this
самой последней секции игры.
Once we finish climbing into the arc injector here, we'll get launched out of it after a short delay of these lights coming up, and then it will be about 30-ish seconds once I land until the end of the run. So, normally this is where I would hit V, the bottom dialogue, and then the game would shoot me out right now, but we have to wait for these lights to come up here. Would have been great to show off pre-charge, but due to how Barker skip happened, I just want to make sure we finish up the run here and not reset the fight to try and get it to show it off. With that being said, this is the most appropriate time to press F in chat for BT.
Готовимся нажимать F в чат для BT. Жмем F. Прощай, BT.
Alright. So now that we've landed, there's a few things we're going to do here. Time will be coming up at the end of this escape sequence, so we're going to get a wall run there, and then we're going to try and get a wall kick off of this. Do some air strafing, double jump late in order to hit this trigger and still not hit the kill plane. So now we're going to stand and slide on that rock. We're scripted to slide on that rock no matter what, so if we stand there, we move faster than if we're crouching. Get a wall jump off of that. Another jump off of that. We want to try and clear over the top of this. We didn't quite do it, so we can take a backup of just jumping on the wall. That's no big deal. And time
И скоро у нас будет время.
Slide off of this. And as we start getting over this
И время.
time.
GG, Fluffy. GG.
All right. Honestly, very solid run overall.
Ну вот и все, это был Titanfall 2, категория All Helmets.
Yeah, it was up until the arc, I was only like 40 seconds behind my PB, and that was mostly from just like a little bit of slop here, a little bit of slop there, and then, you know, the third tri-kill room skip. But honestly, like, that was just a really solid run. I'm very happy with that.
Вот, собственно, и все.
Alright, so there's one last thing we need to do here, and this is, again, a thing you do for the leaderboard thing. We're going to quit to main menu, go to mission select, and we can see...
Сейчас нам раннер показывает то, что у него все шлемы собраны. Все 46 шлемов.
In just a little bit over an hour and a half. Not bad. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this Titanfall 2 speedrun. If you want to see more of this, you can join the Titanfall 2 speedrun community, follow our Twitch streams, follow twitch.tv/BrianAuto,
Ну, в принципе, и все. Это был Titanfall 2. Следующим у нас будет Resident Evil 3. И мы ждем следующего
You know, we got
комментатора.
great resources, always willing to answer your questions if you have any. The best time to get into it is right now. The scene is popping off. With that being said, I'm not going to hold up any more of your time. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this run and enjoy the rest of ESA. My name is LordFluffy, here with Brian Otto, and we'll see you again another time.
Friends in chat, can I get a hand from
Hello?
you and your best friend BT for that wonderful Titanfall 2 run
Привет.
by LordFluffy and the amazing commentary by Brian Otto? With that said, thank you all for having me here to read on stream today. Coming up in a few moments here is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis Any Percent
Да, у
by
нас,
Mango
по
Punch,
сути, должно
so
быть еще
stay
2
tuned.
человека.
Да-да-да. Так, и Кириллим.
И
Have you
дед.
checked out speedrunstore.com yet? 100% of the proceeds during ESA Summer will be